Hi, friend. So it's Miss Martin. I wanted to talk to you about rounding where there's a nine in the given place. So we're going to look at four different examples right here. Okay, so let's look at the first example. All right. When we're rounding to the tenth place, and we've got 34 and 936 thousandths. All right, so we can see that the three is in the tens place, four is in the ones, nine is in the tenths. Okay, so I'm going to underline that. And then I'm going to look next door because it's going to tell me if I'm going to round up to the next number or stay where I'm at and round down. And three is a small number, so we're going to stay where we're at and round down. Now that means everything in the front is going to stay the same. 34, and that 9 we said is going to stay the same. Okay, technically everything else turns to a 0. However, we know that all those extra zeros behind the decimal don't mean anything, and we can actually just get rid of them. Okay, so it's 34 and 9/10. Okay, that's rounded to the tens place. Let's look at another one. Rounding to the tens place, we've got 199 and 35 hundredths. All right, so we're looking, and that 1 is in the hundreds place. That 9 is in the tens place. Okay, so we're looking at this 9. All right, and we're going to look next to it to see, is it a big number or a little number? Are we going to round up to the next? Are we going to round down and stay where we're at? So 9 is a big number. We are going to round up to the next place. So that actually means that that 9 is going to turn into 10. But 10 can't fit in there, okay, because everything else becomes 0, 0, 0. What happened over here? That was a 0, and a 0. Right? Everything else becomes a 0, but that 9 became 10. Well, 10 can't fit, so we're actually going to send the 1 over to the next place. This is the only time, the plus sign, plus 1, we're going to get rid of the 1 there. So that 9 actually became a 0, and we're adding the 1 to the place that's in front. This is one of the only times that the place in front of your place, your given place, is going to change, only if there's a 9. So this is the only time that that happens. So instead, that 1, well, 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, that 9 became a 0. And then we still have another 0, decimal, 0, 0. Everything else became a 0 behind it. Now, the only thing we know is that this is the number 200. And I don't actually need those zeros behind the decimal. I have to keep the ones in front of it, but I don't need the ones behind it. So I'm going to get rid of those. 2. And I can actually get rid of the decimal because 200 is a whole number. There we go. It's just the number 200. Okay. All right. Now let's look at this next one. We are rounding to the hundredths place. Okay. So I've got 12 and 597 thousandths. Well, the 1 is in the tens place, then the 2 is in the ones, 5 in the tenths, 9 in the hundredths. So I'm going to underline that. That's the number I'm deciding to change. Look next door. That's 7, again, bigger than 5. So my 9 is going to round up. We know that the next number that comes after 9 is 10. So it's going to become a 0 instead. That 7 is already going to become a 0 because I'm rounding. And then all I have to do is add the 1 plus 1 to that digit in front of the 9. It's going to have to change because 10 can't fit in the hundredths place. Can't fit 2-digit number into the 1 place. So I'm going to keep the other ones the same. That 1 and that 2 will stay the same. There's my decimal. That 5 I'm adding 1 to. So 5 plus 1 is 6. And then the 9, we already said, turned to a 0, and that 7 turned to a 0. Trying to make that into a 6. I'll live with it. All right. Well, what we do know is that we don't need those extra zeros that are behind the decimal, behind the 6, right? Because they don't change the value. So we're going to get rid of those. It's going to get rid of all that little stuff that I did. Trying to fix the 6. Okay, I can get rid of those last 2 zeros. So now it's just 12 and 6 hundredths, right? We don't have 12 and 6/10. We don't have a hundredths because it turned into a 0 and we could just get rid of it since it was behind the decimal already. All right, now round to the nearest whole. What does the whole mean? Well, in your brain, you can cross that out and just think ones. Okay, that's all it means. Whole means ones. So I'm going to say 59 and 551 thousandths. Well, 5 is in the tens place. Here is my ones place, and it's got a 9 in it again. All right, so I'm going to look next door and say, okay, 5 is 5, and it rounds us up. So that 9 becomes a 10, which means I'm going to put a 0 in its place. And I'm going to add 1 to the digit in front of it because that is where the 1 of the 10 is going to have to go. I can't put it in the same place. So 5 plus 1, again, is 6. That 9 became a 0 decimal. Everything else behind it also becomes a 0. Okay, well, we know that these extra zeros behind it, 60 is a whole number. I can get rid of that extra stuff. Undo. Oh, sorry. I can get rid of those extra things, and we can still say that this is a 0. All of those became zeros. Okay, and there we go. So when you have a 9 in a given place and you're rounding it, if it rounds up, you will have to add 1 to the digit that's in front of it. It's just a rule of rounding, and you got to learn it. I know we're having practice with that this week, but I really wanted to make a little video for you guys to help you in case you did not understand those questions. I didn't use any of the problems from the thing because I want you to practice on your own. It's obviously just a different number, but you will have to deal with some 9s in your given place, and some of those 9s you are going to have to round up. All right, good luck, friends. Email me if you have any extra questions.